Okay, so today I'm trying to make a little bit better day. Yesterday, I turned it into a better day. So, I was dog sitting next door and outside. Remember, I had talked about that they had cleared out, they came in with the excavation thing and they moved big giant piles of dirt. They have, and then their whole yard's fenced and stuff. But outside of the fence, there's this big giant dirt pile, and it was growing all sorts of weeds. It had ferns, all sorts of stuff in it. So yesterday I went out, it was just raining all day too. It was like, oh, this is a perfect time to replant something. Everything is just going crazy growing. Everything is going crazy growing. Like they're trying to drown us, but it's just making everything grow. The stuff in my garden's growing. Everything's growing. I've got potatoes growing. I'm so excited. So I went and I got a bunch of ferns. I got a bunch of, it seems to be wild cilantro. It looks just like cilantro and it has these pretty flowers and it smells so good. So I put a whole bunch of that, a bunch of ferns, everything planted. Everything looks so green. I'm so excited. So, I just turned that around and make myself happy yesterday. And what I've noticed too is it seems that the lights really interfere. Usually I keep my house pretty dark. I've always done that though. It drives people crazy. I walk around in the dark. But I kind of got used to it being a nurse because when you worked night shift as a nurse, you were always walking into people's rooms in the dark. You can walk in, turn on the lights and stuff. So you get used to walking around and doing stuff in the dark. And I don't know. And then why does it bother people? If we're supposed to be saving electricity and stuff, like why is it that you need so much light? But definitely the light interferes with my sight for some reason. And I'm not sure how it works, but it's definitely causing a deterioration. And yesterday it had that light thing out a couple of times and I looked over at it and it just like burns my eyes. Like I can't even look. It is so hot or toxic or something. And so I've been posting this stuff about that. And in the comments, you still have the deniers, but the numbers, if you look at the numbers, when I was on Twitter and when I was talking truth, because that's what my account originally was on Twitter, was talking truth and spiritual stuff. It was all spiritual because I've known about the awakening for a while. I just didn't know how it was going to go down. And so I was talking about that kind of stuff, trying to point things out to people and stuff. And then when things start going down, when I I drew attention to myself by apologizing to Trump for being, the way I was, like, easy to direct, I would say. I wasn't looking into things. I just believed what they said about him. And then when I started looking into it, then it was like, oh my God, they're lying about everything. So, but, that was part of my awakening to see, like, fuck, they lie about everything now to this point. Oh my God. Like, it is mental. And so about the incident in Texas and stuff, so there's so much more stuff coming out. It's so 9/11. There's so much stuff coming out that just doesn't add up. And so lots of people are talking about. They're not just going back to sleep like, oh, nothing to see here. You still have a lot of people who are super outraged and want to, everybody to turn over their weapons, which is absolute insanity. Like who was a progressive liberal for so long, and I was anti-gun, anti-this, anti-that, all that bullshit. Progressive and all these other things. Like, I thought it was perfectly fine for drag queens to go in and read to kids in the library. I was like, oh, that's cool. We'd just get everybody to accept everybody, I didn't know there was an agenda behind it. Once you see the agenda, then things aren't so sweet and nice anymore. Then you see they're just trying to control us. And that's when it becomes disturbing. If things happen organically and people accept one another. And, you know, that is okay. But when they are doing it as some kind of weirdo agenda to control the kids, now the people are next door again, so it's noisy. And Stella's on edge. I'm telling you, once they spray, I really feel poisoned. And I know it's not in my mind because, you know, I noticed it with Stella. She just starts whining and crying and just like, oh my God, I don't feel good. And just laying down and just looking sad all the time. And then I'm just, you just get really, really sick, just like you're being poisoned. And then people, I'm sure, think, oh my God, I've got the Dovic. I got to go to the hospital, go order test. And then the tests have more poison. It's like, oh my gosh, this is mental. I just hope that this is, I hope we're at the end of this stuff. I hope, you know, that enough people are waking up and there's enough outrage. But, you know, if they're going to go, because then I guess yesterday after I recorded, then Joe went in and it could have been before. I had just gotten that thing that popped up on my phone that said he was going to go hard on the reform. And so then I saw last night where he whatever, they've decided that we don't need rights. That's old fashioned. You guys don't need rights. Bill of Rights, the Constitution, bullshit. That stuff is old. We're in control. We're in control now. You're gonna do what we say. It's like bullshit, people. Bullshit. You have that piece of paper. You wave that piece of paper. You don't turn around and go, "Oh, it's obsolete now. Okay, sorry. I didn't know I could have rights." You know, like fuck off. They can tell you whatever the fuck they want to tell you, but that doesn't mean you comply. And so now, if they're going to be coming, you know, I think, because I was thinking about this last night. So you have the soldiers, the ones that he has control over, who don't want to march in here because they know that it's going to be a bloodbath. And, you know, like I said, they've watched enough movies to know that this is cowboy land. And so if they're going to come in here, they probably have got some sharp shooters that are going to shoot the shit out of them. Besides, they're wearing helmets. They're going to blow the damn heads off. Like, these guys are screwed. I mean, but it's crazy when you think about souls choosing to be born into situations to experience, because it seems so horrible and traumatic. But for some reason, you know, every story out there, soul is jumping in. Hey, yeah, let's make up this weird one. I saw a guy this morning. I just found him yesterday, and I really like him. And he said, you know, when you wake up from a bad dream, I'm not going to say his whole thing, but it was just basically, you know, when you wake up from a bad dream, you get up in the morning, you're just like, oh God, thank God, it was a dream. He said, when you die, you do the same thing. You know, all of a sudden you come out of your body and you're like, oh, thank God it was a dream. That's true. This is all a dream. None of this is real as we think it is, as real as we try and make it. None of this is real. And, you know, and I know that because our real life, they call us dead. They say we're dead. That's our real life. That is real life, is when you're outside of a body. Inside of a body, you're just playing a part. You're in a dream. You're in a movie. You're in a script. So, you know, that is when you know, like, this. None of this is real, because they say when you die, you cease to exist. Or, you know, if you're a really good person and you got that, like, wackadoo brain, then you can go to heaven and be with God or something. So their whole thing about death is all wrong. It's all bullshit. And that is such a huge misrepresentation. I think that is one of the biggest problems of what people deal with. If people really understood that this is just a dream, you're playing a part, you choose your part. Even though you are scripted, you have to tune in to yourself and connect to yourself to figure out the part you're supposed to be playing. Otherwise, you're going to keep running in a room. Oh, wrong room. Running in a room. Wrong room. Oh, where am I supposed to be? You know, you have to tune into yourself to understand the part you're supposed to be playing. But you're here just to play a part. You're here just to experience this situation as it goes. And it's obviously very horrible because a lot of people are really caught up in it. And it is horrible. The worst part to me, I'm even over the money thing. Now I just look at the money as just monopoly play money. I mean, I've got my silver. I think that's what gives me the most, what is that, satisfaction or something, is to know that I'm okay. It doesn't matter what the fuck they do. This is playing a game. And so I have my real source of ownership. I have something of value. And but they can even come in and take the house, you know, and I sit here and I work on the yard and do all this stuff. They could try and burn this shit down. I mean, I saw a thing today. I guess there's a documentary on the spraying, what it is doing to the forest and stuff. And it is killing them. And they're expecting a lot of really bad forest fires, which, you know, I mean, they could even be putting that out as propaganda. How would we fucking know? Every goddamn thing is such a lie in this weirdo place. But, you know, if they're going to start trying to burn it, I live in a forest, so if they're going to start burning them down, but I can see in my own yard what they're doing to the trees. Like when they come and spray and all the needles fall. And that started in September. And one of my trees out there is totally dead now. I'm going to have to cut it down. It's just nothing on it. So, and I had another one too. And I just cut it down because it was a little smaller. So I could do it with the hand saw. I was like a lumberjack. But this other one, I think I would need help. Because some of these trees, they've fallen. And you don't realize how heavy they are. And you can't catch them and saw at the same time. So, anyways, you know, they're purposely killing the forest. They're purposely killing us. Their attack is on nature. They just want this artificial world. All they need is a goddamn computer screen, you know, for them to enjoy or something. I don't really even get it. All they want is this artificial metaverse world where you just give up your life to go into their world. And I sure the fuck hope people don't give up their weapons. I sure the hell hope people don't just say, oh, you're taking my rights away? Okay. Okay. You can take them. Like, you have to know your own value. You have to know your own power. You have to know who you are. They do not have the control that they try and say. I swear to God, I see them like just standing out in the, you know, like you go to the park or something and everybody's out having picnics and the psychopath stands up in the middle and starts trying to pee on everybody, pissing on everybody. That's what they are. They're the psychopath that's trying to piss on us. And, you know, we have to keep moving out of their way. And I saw today where people are getting notifications their rent is like doubling. It's going up $500, like it's mental how much. And then it's like, okay, so these people who own these homes, who are renting them, you see, like, so you think this is the appropriate time to make the rent go up? Or are these places that are making the rent go up all corporate owned? They all are under some sort of a, you know, a corporation or something that, what is that called? Because I rented a house and it was from a person, but I had to talk through a realtor or a company or something. But even then, the people who own the house should have say over what it's renting for. And they know that people are struggling like this. People are going homeless and they're going to raise their rent. I don't. But like I said, everything that you're putting out right now is going to come back. And it's going to come back hard. So people who are trying to screw other people over for their own greed, their own profit, their own, you know, control, so that they can just be an idiot, like, it's going to come back and hit them. It's going to come back and hit them hard too. And, but no matter what, as all this is going down, people should not fucking be paying. I wouldn't be paying my rent. I'd take that money. I'd go down and find a used camper. and I would start setting up, figuring out where I'm going to go. There's no fucking way. I mean, it's all part of the trap. And then what happens when they take away your job? Because their plan is to give all the jobs to AI. The plan is just to make us all this dog-eat-dog world. It'd be more like we're a bunch of, what are those dogs called? They're called, not parking lot dogs, but, the dogs that they keep them in a place like a yard dogs. I think they're called yard dogs, but they are they're like the guards over a business. Like if you went to a junkyard or something, they don't have guards everywhere. They have dogs out roaming, and they're can be vicious. That's what they're trying to turn this into, just this vicious purge society. Only the strong survive, but the strong, you may survive by killing everybody else, but then you're winning to be the super soldier for the elite. Like, that's your big goal. Oh, and I'll tell you something else disturbing I saw today. And it seems like a lot of people are sharing this, but some little kid, he looks really little. Like, I don't know, I would say 6 or 7. No way is he second grade. I would say he's probably kindergarten or first grade. And the teacher is sitting there talking to him, and she's filming him. You don't see her. You only hear her voice. And they're outside. It looks like a recess or something like that. Or maybe school got out, and so she said, hey, can I ask you something? And she films it, which, the parents could probably turn this into some shit, but it's already out there now. But so she says, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, a murderer. And she's a murderer? What do you mean a murderer? So she starts questioning him. Because ever since I started watching those shows on TV, and I see about all the murder, it just did something in my brain, and it made me decide I want to murder, and I want to murder everybody. I want to murder everybody on this planet, except for my parents. And then the teacher goes, well, what about me? And she goes, and he starts smiling and goes, well, I won't murder you. You're my teacher. But he says, and so she's like, well, so what do you want to be? And he goes, a murderer. I want to be a murderer. Like, that's the goals. I wanted to be an astronaut. Now the goals is I want to be a murderer. We'll see how many people we can kill. Like, look at this society, what we're doing to these kids. Like, what is going on here? Like, you got kids who can't dress up or play and, pretend to be a boy or a girl. If you do that, and the same people who say we're not paying attention to gender are going to run in and go, hey, guess what? My child's a new gender. We're going to put them on blockers. We're so excited. We're so progressive. So we just went and bought our son a whole new wardrobe of dresses. He's growing his hair out. Yes, we're so cool. It's like, oh my God. We got kids want to freaking grow up to be murderers. And they've got this generation of kids is super confused. I think, once we get going in the right direction, I don't think it would be as hard to turn kids. I think the adults are going to have a harder time turning than the kids will, because adults are so programmed and locked in. The kids are just kind of, I think, confused because they're still more associated with their soul. They're still more associated. Like, I saw a guy talking the other day. It's like something, I think, until you're a certain age, your brain stays in theta or something. That's why you go into fantasies and you can pretend like, oh, I'm a dragon and and you get really into it. And how kids play pretend. Well, they're not even doing that so much now, right? Because all their pretend has become virtual. They got their face planted in a screen from the time I bet you there's kids that are in those little seats on the table, and the parents have them propped up with a fucking screen. Don't even realize what they're doing to these kids' brains. But, so I think that, whatever is going on with the kids, I think that they would be easier to reprogram. Even though I just think it would be a lot easier. You know, just take away the fucking screens. Get them outside. Start getting them to do things. Start getting them to pretend. Get them to fantasize. Get them to develop that side of themselves. They're just dependent on a screen. I swear to God, you take the screen away from some of them and they fucking lose their minds. Go into a temper tantrum. It's like you took away their brain or something. They're so attached to them. And these parents just, I remember when my kids were little, and there was a whole thing, you know, oh, you can just set your kid in front of the TV when you got to clean and do stuff because they'll just sit and watch the TV. And so we did that for a while. Like, you have a baby and you got to clean the kitchen and you got to do the laundry before the next kids get home. You know, it's like, okay, well, I can't just sit and hold you the whole time. Here, watch this screen. Like this screen I have up right now would be perfect. It's just fish swimming in a nice, gentle music. Like if you set your kid in front of a screen that just had fish swimming and music or nature stuff, I think that would be, you know, if you had a baby and you were going to put them, and who knows what the screen is really emitting either, you know, some sort of radiation, I'm sure. Now that it's coming out, how much they're using this technology and radiation and microwaving us and all this bullshit. It's like, fuck, so crazy. So crazy to think like that we chose to be born into this. Like we thought this sounded like a good idea. Now we're in it and it's like, oh, it's a lot harder than it seemed. I'm always telling my guys that. I'm always saying, you guys don't even know. This is way harder. You guys sit up there pretending like this is easy. No, this is hard as shit. And you know, on the days that are hard, you just gotta, you know, cry it out. You gotta allow yourself to feel your feelings. Don't repress them. Like there's people who act like, oh, I'm super spiritual and, you know, I can't do this or I can't do that, you know, or you got to, this is all about processing. You want to be super spiritual. You got to release your pain. You got to let everything go. Anything that comes up, any trigger that comes up. And this is a painful time. And we're going through this painful time so that we can release it, so we can process it. So don't repress your pain. Don't repress what you're going through. Let it all go out. Release. Because I'm telling you, as you release, your vibration raises you. And you just start feeling better and more buoyant and stuff. And there's a lot of horrible stuff going on, but it won't bring you down to the level where some people are really super, I mean, when you go in and you read comments and stuff, like people are just really going through some shit, man. And people are really having a hard time and you can't take it away from them. Like, even if some of the stuff I say, you know, it just sounds crazy to them. That's why I've always been like, I'll go out and speak this stuff and speak my truth. And I know the universe will bring the people who are supposed to hear it to it. But like, you can't go in and fix everything for everybody, even when you want to. You know, you want to help people. Like when you know, and I can say things, I'll say things on TikTok and stuff. You know, I've been saying things all the time. I'm still weirded out how that lady thought I was like, you know, supported Joe or anything. Like, even if I was talking about cooking and showing stuff around my house, I still was clear about, you know, my loyalty to, I don't know. It's weird. It's like you go back over your stuff and you're like, what did I say that would make somebody think that I am progressive in the same way they are? Like, I talk about it as like, you know, I used to be, but, you know, I could see now I was being misled, that I was just a part of the pack, that I was following the information that they wanted me to follow. You have to break free from that, you know, and I don't know. I don't know, there's lots of stuff weirding me out. I think it's a weird situation. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, they're going to go after the weapons hardcore, like, but it's our rights, and I don't know how they're going to go about this. I just hope that this is it. Like, something has got to happen. Something has got to happen, especially if he is not the commander-in-chief of the military and somebody else is in charge of that. Then how long until they say, no, you can't do that? Like, how many billions have to be sent over to fund this cabal situation? They just keep sending money over there. Where's the money coming from? It's all just a bunch of bullshit. There is no fucking money. So where are they getting it? Don't tell me that 40 billion tax dollars were suddenly there and that's paying for that, and also paying for Social Security, paying for Medicare, paying for, there's certain things that they have to pay all the time. Those things are gonna bankrupt them. There's only so long that you can keep on playing this game, especially when it's already being exposed in other places. Other places are already going off the banking system. And, the leaving the enslavement system. And I don't know, it was just here that people have to just keep seeing this bad stuff to get them to focus, get them to question, to get them to accept. When the banks go down, that was the best thing. When we stop having corporate food, that was the best thing. Yesterday I go in and I'll try and, I kind of feel like it's kind of sad sometimes, like when you used to just could go in and put on a movie and just kind of veg and just relax and watch some movie and be entertained in your living room. And now I put on something and it's just like, I can't even get through a couple minutes of it. It's crazy. It's bizarre. Like, it's so, just everything in me just kind of is rubbed wrong. And, but I had turned on this show. What was it? Oh, I thought, maybe this would be kind of sci-fi. Yeah, it was a sci-fi one. It had Seth MacFarlane, which I was like, fuck that dude. I don't want to watch that guy. And then it popped up again, so I was like, okay, maybe there's something. So I'll go in and watch it. Maybe I'm just being judgmental. I could only get through a couple minutes. It was ridiculous and stupid as fuck. And then plus, I don't know, there's something weird with that guy. Because isn't he the guy who does The Simpsons? Or is he, I don't know. There's something weird with them. I can't think of it right now, but there's something. But every time I see him, I just kind of get like cringy. So, when this movie started, it was like total city of the future. Like huge building, not a goddamn tree inside. Nothing. I don't think there was a cloud. There was just tons and tons and tons of buildings. Like if you go and you watch Blade Runner or something like that. Or there's other shows. I can't think of them all. But anyway, so it starts out with this, like you're having this skyline, or you're in the sky perspective of looking at this city. So it's tall buildings, and then you see more buildings down, just concrete, cement, metal everywhere. And all the cars are flying around. I think it said it was like 2478 or something like that. And all of these cars flying. And to me, I was like, this is not the future that I want. Yeah, I want to be able to fly around in cars, but I don't think it's going to be quite the same as what they're saying, because I think that there's something more to, even back in Star Trek when they could go into that that machine thing and then they just come out in another machine thing. I don't know. I think the technology is going to be a lot more sophisticated than flying cars in 400 years. because these other beings that are more sophisticated than us, they go around all the time, going to other places. So I think we're going to learn more about, you know, interdimensional travel. I don't think it's going to be so much like that, but their thing with the concrete jungle, see, they never have nature included. I like the ones where it shows, you know, people out living free, living in the mountains, living in the, you know, making their own towns, their own places to survive, their own communities. No fucking way do I want to live in a goddamn soulless metal city so I can fly around in a car. And like, what do you do in this city? Like, they didn't even have a place where they were getting food. Where's the food come from? Like, is anyone growing it? Is it grown in a lab? Just Soylent Green future? Like, I don't know. It was a movie, it was, I know Tom Hanks was in it. I saw a long time ago. It was I think it was some with reincarnation, or I think it's called Atlas, maybe Atlas Sun or something like that. And it has a bunch of different lives, but this one life, it was like in these mountains, like going up the sides of these mountains. That is way more how I would rather live in the future than live in a goddamn soulless metal city. I have no interest in that. There was something else that popped into my head when I was talking about that. Let's see if I can remember what it was. What was it? Well, anyways, I won't hold you up with me trying to think of something. But anyways, I mean, this stuff just keeps moving forward. Who knows to what degree it's going to go. You know, if he comes knocking on doors, like, I don't know, they're just going to go door to door and think that they can come in and take people's weapons or something. Like, people have to stand up for themselves. And then what are they going to do? Like, you got all these people who are out homeless and stuff. Like, do these people already go and pawn their weapons? Like, if there's, I don't know. We just got to keep seeing how things go. And, you know, and you just got to stay positive, no matter how dark and stuff it is. Just keep that kind of positive vibe. Like, it's going to turn out okay. It's going to turn out okay. It's going to be better. It's going to be so much better when we get through this. So we just got to get through this. And it makes it harder every day that it drags out longer. Just is, it's a hard thing to go through. There's no doubt about it. So don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself a break. Take your time out. You know, take care of you. That's the most important thing that's going on here. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.